Hey, Tribute Band Central. Welcome to the channel tonight. I have a very special guest, Michael Lee Watson. I believe you even go by Michael the Guitar Watson. And he is with Radio Show. I have had the pleasure of talking to Michael a couple of times before some shows that I've attended, and he has agreed to do an interview, talk a little bit about his musical background and radio show and a whole bunch of topics. So, Michael, thanks for joining the channel tonight.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Well, let's talk first a little bit about Radio Show, which is your current band. They play every Wednesday night at Guston's in Woodstock, Georgia. I will put links to all of the things in the comments. So if you're watching this, you don't have to make any notes. You can check it down there. So tell me about Radio Show. How long has that been going on, and who are you working with on that project?
So, radio show's been around about 15 years, actually. It started, we were working with a lead vocalist back about 15 years ago. Very, very talented guy. He could sing anything. And we had myself on guitar, him on lead vocals. We had a keyboard player at the time that played the bass on the left hand of his keyboard because we were trying to get this audition at Guston's and we couldn't afford to pay a five-piece band at the time. So, and then we had a drummer. And so that's the only piece of radio show that ever rehearsed. We rehearsed, we learned a core of some songs, and we tried out for Guston's a couple of times. Actually, our lead singer had won. They had like an American Idol type of vocal contest there a month or two before, and he won it. And so they gave him an opportunity to bring his band in. And so it was really just we thought it was going to be a one-off thing on a Wednesday. They liked us and asked us back the next Wednesday, and then before long, we've been there 15 years now,
Wow.
through some various changes, and the crowd that has been coming mainly is not just like our good friends, but there's a lot of people that we only knew because they came to Guston's and they saw the band and they liked us. And so those people have been coming so long now that they all know each other. So it's kind of like a social thing now every Wednesday when they come, as well as the band. But there's been a couple of different formations. I'd say it's been about 5 years since the lead vocalist that we had exited to do other things. And Guston's approached me, wanted to know if I wanted to handle the lead vocalist uh, duties, and I was like, I don't know. I know I can sing, but I don't know if I can be a front man. I've normally had a vocalist that I
Mhm.
work with, and so that was new for me. I mean, it wasn't that I had never done it before a couple of times, but this was going to be a regular thing. But it turned out to be great, and really a lot of the other guys in the band sing as well. And our guitar player Michael Locke, when I first started, he wasn't singing at all, and now he sings a whole lot. He's got a lot of confidence. He's got a good voice. So
Good.
that's kind of how we evolved. We've had a couple of different drummers. Um, we did finally add a bass player. And then our latest lineup has probably been in place for about 5 years. We lost our longtime keyboard player due to COVID,
Oh,
and then so about five. He didn't pass away, but his family. He was a little older, and his family was concerned about him playing out. So we that's when Michael Vassier, our current keyboard player, came in. I had played with Mike for years and years in bands, and he lives around the corner from Guston. So he joined us right there around COVID. We played every Wednesday all the way through COVID.
really? Oh,
Guston. The whole band got COVID. Everybody in the band got COVID at one time or the other, but we played all the way through. And it's just kind of an amazing thing. You know, we've been there for a long time. I don't know how long it's going to last. I have nothing but gratitude for Guston's, for having us for that long. I'm surprised they hadn't fired us for being too loud after 15 years, but
excellent, excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about your musical background. Obviously, guitar player. Are there when did you start playing guitar? Do you play any other instruments? And then you mentioned that you've kind of taken over some of the singing stuff. So obviously that was a bit of a transition. Love to hear about that.
Yeah, so I was born originally in Huntsville, Alabama. I moved to Atlanta about 30 years ago.
Okay.
And I started playing right when Van Halen 1 came out. So I was a 80s lover. I fell in love with all that kind of music. Journey, Van Halen, Kansas, Rush, all that kind of stuff. So I'm an 80s kid. I mean, I'm even before Metallica.
Yeah.
And so um, I played mainly rhythm for about the first 10 years, never sang. And then started, I moved to Atlanta 30 years ago. I started to branch out and try to do a little different stuff other than 80s music. And so I had to get uh, I only played through like Marshall amps with no clean channel and just dirty
Yeah.
distortion. And so I had to learn to get a clean amp that had a clean channel. And I had to learn how to play clean, which I had really not ever done a whole lot of since I played mainly 80s rock, which has very few clean parts in it, most of it. So that was a transition for me. I had to kind of learn. I thought I wanted to do blues, and then I went out to some of the places here in Atlanta and saw the players, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be playing blues. Atlanta has such an immense talent
Yeah.
pool here. So many talented musicians. It's just amazing. So, but I met a guy. I met a bass player that was I was auditioning him to play like in a club band with me, playing just club music, rock. And this guy had he said, well, he had moved to Atlanta from Memphis, and he he uh, he said that he played with Chuck Berry and Mel Torme, stand up bass, and he toured with all these oldies groups.
Hmm.
And he asked me if I wanted to play with the Drifters.
Hmm.
And I don't know what he saw in me, but and I said, well, he said, well, you'll have to dress up. You'll have to put on the tux
Hmm.
and dress up for these shows. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do that because I was just like jeans and torn up jeans and a shirt kind of rock and roll guy. So, and I didn't really even know who the Drifters were. I didn't realize their hit was Under the Boardwalk, and then they did On Broadway, which Stevie Wonder did a version of. And so,
Hmm.
um, actually, the first gig that I did with him was Charlie Thomas in Treasure Bay Casino. It was a 45-minute Drifter show, and after I got done with that, I'm like, you know what, I can do this. You know,
Cool.
and so I started playing with him with all these oldies acts. So nowadays they can't afford to fly a band with them everywhere they go now. And so they
Hmm.
have bands all around the country that learn their shows, and when they're in the southeast, they use us.
Okay.
And so we did a gig with him, and then the next week we played in Knoxville with the Coasters and Lou Christie, who just recently passed away. And so that started my oldies. I started playing the oldies, and really for years and years and years, that's all I did. We were playing every weekend. We didn't play any club gigs. We didn't need to play any club gigs. We were playing all theaters and casinos and auditoriums and things. I played at the Fox Theater with the
Oh, wow.
Temptations. I got been really blessed. I just met the right person at the right time, and he had a lot of connections. And so his name's Andy Martin. He's a fantastic bass player, and I'll be doing a gig with him July 20th at the Alabama Theater in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay.
It's called Forever Motown. It's 8 lead singers, lead singer from the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Marvelettes, the Drifters, and a couple other bands. And so we do a 90-minute mashup of a bunch of Motown stuff. It's a really cool show.
Wow. That sounds great. I'll put a link in the comments so folks can find that, maybe buy some tickets and head your way.
Yeah, and I'll
Um,
let you know of any other gigs that come up. He just called me yesterday. We have a gig April 18th in Buford, off of Buford Highway, up here at the community center with the Drifters.
oh, cool. Cool. Very good. Very good. So you have a pretty varied background. So I don't know what your answer to this is going to be, but what's some of your favorite songs to perform? Are there any that stick out, or do you just kind of like certain genres and that, or is there a particular song that just really makes you feel good when you play it?
Well, that's a good question because, I was a hard rocker for years. And when we played gigs, we weren't worried about anybody dancing. We weren't working musicians in that kind of sense. We were doing our thing, and you either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah.
And I was not very flexible. So when I met Andy, he taught me how to be a working musician and how to play some songs that I kind of had swore I'd never play, because I was kind of sworn to the hard rock 80s
Yeah.
crowd. It's like you're banned from the crowd if you play, under the
Yeah.
boardwalk,
Yep.
or something like that. So I started learning songs that the crowd wanted to hear. And when I started doing that, I really enjoyed that more than anything because when I'm playing a song that the crowd really likes, that I don't know what it is about that. I guess, the radio show, for example, we don't rehearse. So if we want to learn a new song, everybody tries to learn it. We show up and play it. It either sounds good and the crowd loves it, or either it doesn't.
Yep.
And, we always, musicians, we always pick all the cool songs that we want to do, Steely Dan and all this stuff. And
Yep.
we'll pick all this stuff and we'll play it. And then nobody will even react to it. And then we come back and play a little dance song, and they all get up and they want to dance and they love it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the crowd. I learned to play for the crowd that I'm playing for. Now, if I'm playing for a bikers group, I can lay on the Steppenwolf. I can get up to the stage and sing Led Zeppelin and AC/DC if I need to all night long because I've got that 80s in me.
Yep.
But it just depends on who's in the crowd. And Guston's crowd on Wednesdays is a lot of older people that like oldies. So that's easy for me because I know all the group's oldie songs because I played with them. And so I can do that. And then a little later in the night, after they leave about 10 o'clock, from 10 to 10:30, they tend to let us play a little rock and cut us loose. And so we'll do some Zeppelin and some AC/DC and a little bit of rock stuff. There'll be a couple of rocker guys there, and I grew up on Southern rock as well, that kind of stuff. So I have a weird mixture of stuff. The stuff that I listen to the most, just for me, music that I like to listen to. I like listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I really like listening to people like Tommy Emmanuel, who's just like an amazing guitar player. It's just beyond
Mhm.
my imagination the things that he's able to play. Um, but you know what? I play so much, and I'm so busy playing. I don't really get out much and watch other bands. I should more. Um, but I just between my day job and then playing at night, playing on the weekends, and I have a wife that has a disability. I have to take care of her, so I'm pretty covered up. I think the last concert I went to was Paul McCartney in downtown when he played at the what was that place? It wasn't the Omni. It was,
At the where the basketball players play?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Phillips.
Phillips. Yep. Phillips
I
Arena.
saw Paul McCartney there.
Wow. I'll
Yeah,
bet
it was
that was an
awesome.
incredible show.
It was an incredible show. I saw the last show before they imploded the Omni was Stone Temple Pilots, and then Rush before that. That Rush played a 2 hour show with no opening act. They played an hour, took a break, came back, played an hour. It was a great show.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm going to bring up I got to see you at Gibbs Gardens, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it was an outdoor concert. And like you said, you got a lot of feedback from the crowd there because there were a lot of people dancing. And you played one of my favorite songs. And I too enjoy harder rock music and from the 80s, late 70s, 80s, early 90s. But you played Looking Glass, Brandy. And the song meant a lot to me because actually, when I was in pep band in high school, in the back of the cabinet, they had music for Brandy. And the band director was like adamant that we wouldn't play because that was just an old song that nobody wanted to listen to. And we pushed so hard from the trumpet section that we could play that song. And so I always kind of liked it. And then it's had a big resurgence because it's been included in a couple of movies. So I just wanted to ask you, like, how long have you been playing that song? Do you get good feedback to that? How does that go? I saw a lot of
Yeah,
people
so
dancing to it.
we started playing that song with our when we had the lead singer,
Okay.
because there was a couple that they're both school teachers, and they always come and they sit over on the left side, and the guy's name is Shane and his wife's name is Brandy, and so we they requested that, and so we started playing that, and then I started singing it when I picked back up in the band when our lead singer left. And I'm like you, I really like 70s music. I mean, it's just something about 70s. They're just not writing stuff like that anymore. And so I love that kind of stuff. The creativity back then, that kind of a song. I mean, it's
Exactly.
hard to find something like that, and it's a fun song to play. And it tells a story too. It's a good song.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, we're going to kind of wrap up here. Is there any other shows that you'd like to plug or mention? And I'll tell my audience, I'll be sure to include everything that's coming up for you in the comments. But is there anything else? I know it it's a little tight tomorrow, which is Wednesday. You've got the Beatles night at Guston's. So that would be kind of an extra fun thing for our radio show. Any others that you want to plug?
Yeah, so tomorrow night is Beatles. We'll have Alan Vaughan there. He is actually a British guy who has a Beatles band called In the Garden. He used to play rhythm guitar with Stephen Skipper's Stones band. So you may have seen
Oh,
him with that band, but he's really an authentic British guy. And so we're going to back him up on about an hour and a half of some great Beatles music. So we're doing that. The next radio show gig that we have outside of Guston's is going to be Picking on the Porch,
okay.
October, I believe, the 11th or 12th, whichever that Saturday is there.
Okay.
They're up at the Kusawati River Resort up in Ellijay. And so we'll be there. Other than that, if you happen to be out at an oldies gig, you might see me. Um,
Outstanding.
you
Outstanding.
know, we played Woodstock Square way back with all the oldies acts back when they had they only had that little white stage thing there,
Yeah.
pergola or whatever that thing
Yeah.
was before they had the amphitheater and all that. We played there in the square gigs with platters, coasters, drifters, marvelettes. We did shows at all these little areas, Marietta Square and all that kind of stuff. So all that'll probably come back around. We'll probably be back with some of the oldies groups, but you can always catch us at Guston's.
Great. Great. Well, I really appreciate you taking some time to talk tonight. It has been an honor and a pleasure to learn about your background. And I know personally you're an amazing player, and I look forward to hearing you again in the future. And anytime that you or any of the band wants to talk on my channel, I would welcome the opportunity. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Harlan.
Uh,
Appreciate you guys.
all right. Take care. Tribute Band Central. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.